In 2025, entire cities across California are emptying faster than anyone expected. Families are packing up, businesses are vanishing, and once thriving towns are turning eerily quiet. In this video, we reveal the top 15 California cities people are fleeing and the shocking reasons behind the mass exodus. Let's talk about San Francisco. A tech mecca and cultural hotspot, San Francisco has long symbolized innovation, creativity, and counterculture. From the Beat Generation to the boom of Silicon Valley, it's seen more than its fair share of transformation. But now, the city's population has dipped to around 842,000, down from over 884,000 in 2020. That's a loss of more than 40,000 people in just 5 years. Why? For starters, San Francisco has one of the highest costs of living in the country. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment still hovers above $3,000. Add to that a growing homelessness crisis, an increase in property and petty crime, and a noticeable decline in public services, and the city's glow starts to dim. Office towers are sitting empty, and entire downtown blocks feel like ghost zones. A recent report found that downtown foot traffic is still down more than 30% from pre-pandemic levels, while some neighborhoods have seen business closures at record rates. Even iconic retailers like Nordstrom and Whole Foods have pulled out of downtown locations due to safety concerns and falling sales. And then there's the remote work effect. Tech companies like Twitter, now X, Uber, and Dropbox have reduced their physical footprints, reducing downtown buzz and pushing more employees to live elsewhere. But there's also a deeper issue. Many residents feel the city is losing its soul. The cost of doing business has skyrocketed, which means beloved coffee shops, bookstores, and family-run eateries are being replaced by corporate chains or shutting down entirely. Public transportation has also taken a hit. BART and Muni ridership are still below pre-pandemic numbers, leading to service cuts and longer wait times. For many, the charm and culture that once made San Francisco worth the cost just isn't there anymore. Combine that with a tech industry that's increasingly mobile and able to relocate, and you've got a city that's struggling to hold on to the very people who made it thrive. Now let's look at San Jose. Known as the capital of Silicon Valley, San Jose was once at the heart of the tech boom. Companies like Cisco, Adobe, and eBay were cornerstones of the local economy. But with a 2025 population of about 970,000, down from over 1 million just a few years ago, it's clear that something's changed. Major companies like Google and Meta have laid off thousands, while others have adopted hybrid or fully remote models. As a result, there's less need to live close to the office. And the cost of staying? Well, that's steep. The median home price in San Jose was recently recorded at $1.3 million. For many, that simply isn't sustainable. Combined with high utility costs, traffic congestion, and limited nightlife compared to nearby cities, San Jose is losing residents to more affordable and vibrant places out of state, like Austin, Phoenix, and even Boise. Many former tech workers are cashing out and relocating for better quality of life. In addition to affordability issues, San Jose suffers from a lack of cultural and recreational attractions relative to other Bay Area cities. Despite being California's third largest city, it often lacks the vibrancy of places like San Francisco or Oakland. The downtown area has long struggled to become a lively destination, with many storefronts still empty and foot traffic low. Homelessness is also rising, particularly in areas near freeways and public parks. The city's once promising high-speed rail connection has been delayed again, further complicating commuting for residents who depend on public transport. San Jose is also feeling the impact of climate change. Water restrictions, increased wildfire threats in the nearby Santa Cruz Mountains, and worsening air quality are contributing to resident fatigue. Even with a booming tech sector, the sense that Silicon Valley is no longer tied to a specific location has made many wonder, why stay in one of the most expensive cities in America if you don't have to? Now let's head to Anaheim. Best known as the home of Disneyland, Anaheim has a long history as a tourist hub and a centerpiece of Orange County. Originally founded as a winemaking colony in the 1850s, it exploded in the 1950s when Disneyland opened. Its population sits around 346,000 in 2025, down nearly 10,000 since 2020. The city was hard hit by the pandemic, particularly its tourism and hospitality sectors. Hotels, restaurants, and small attractions struggled to stay afloat, and the ripple effects are still being felt. The average rent in Anaheim is over $2,400, and a 2023 city audit revealed that more than 60% of renters were housing burdened. Add in the seasonal nature of many jobs and limited high-paying employment opportunities outside the entertainment sector, and it becomes clear why people are choosing to move elsewhere. Plus, surrounding cities like Irvine and Fullerton offer better schools and lower crime, giving families more reason to pack up. Another major issue is traffic. With Disneyland attracting millions of visitors each year, locals often find themselves stuck in gridlock without the same benefits tourists enjoy. Public transit options are limited, and bike lanes are inconsistent or missing altogether. For residents who work outside the tourism sector, the daily struggle with traffic and infrastructure fatigue has become a deal breaker. Additionally, while Disneyland continues to thrive, there's a growing disconnect between the wealth generated by the resort and the living conditions of the people nearby. In 2022, a report from Occidental College showed that many Disneyland employees couldn't afford to live in Anaheim and were commuting long distances or living in overcrowded housing. The city's recent efforts to rezone areas for mixed-use housing have faced pushback from residents concerned about congestion and declining quality of life. Let's talk about Long Beach next. A coastal city with a rich naval and industrial history, Long Beach has long been a hub for shipping and commerce. It's home to one of the busiest ports in the country, and the Queen Mary is docked here as a historic landmark. But with about 458,000 residents in 2025, it has lost nearly 15,000 people since 2020. The Port of Long Beach is still a major economic driver, but the city is increasingly seen as a tough place to live. Industrial pollution remains a concern, especially in West Long Beach. Violent crime rose nearly 20% between 2019 and 2022. Housing remains expensive, with the median home price hovering around $750,000. And then there's climate change. Rising sea levels and coastal erosion pose long-term threats. Despite efforts to revitalize downtown and boost the local economy, many residents are finding the challenges outweigh the perks, especially when they can get ocean views and more space for their money further south. Additionally, Long Beach has one of the highest rates of asthma and respiratory illnesses in Southern California, largely due to port emissions and freeway traffic. For families with children or elderly relatives, this is a serious health concern. The city's school system is also struggling with budget cuts and declining enrollment, prompting some parents to move to neighboring districts. Local initiatives like the Queen Mary Revitalization Project and downtown redevelopment have made some progress, but they haven't been enough to curb the outflow. Homelessness has become a visible issue, with encampments growing near the riverbed and freeway overpasses. Local law enforcement is stretched thin, and public trust has eroded after several high-profile incidents and controversial policing tactics. The balance between maintaining safety and supporting vulnerable populations is proving hard to achieve. All these factors combined have led thousands to look elsewhere for a better life, whether that's further inland, out of state, or even across the country. Glendale is an interesting one. Nestled near the Verdugo Mountains, Glendale has long been one of Southern California's more polished suburban cities. Known for its Armenian-American community, safe neighborhoods, and access to entertainment hubs like Burbank and downtown Los Angeles, it was once considered one of the most livable mid-sized cities in the state. But that narrative is starting to shift. The city's population has fallen below 200,000 in 2025, down from around 205,000 in 2020. While that may not sound like much, it marks a steady decline for a city that had been growing for decades. One major reason for the exodus is the skyrocketing cost of housing. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment is now over $2,300, and buying a home is out of reach for most first-time buyers. The median sale price hovers around $950,000. For a city that doesn't offer the nightlife of West Hollywood or the tech scene of Silicon Valley, that's a tough sell for younger residents. Many are choosing to live farther east, in areas like Riverside or San Bernardino, where they can afford a house and still commute, albeit painfully. The city's infrastructure is also straining under pressure. Glendale's traffic congestion is worsening, especially near major corridors like the 134 and 5 freeways. The city's public schools, once a major draw for families, have seen mixed results in recent assessments. Glendale Unified has faced budgetary challenges due to declining enrollment, leading to school consolidations and teacher layoffs. And while the city has a reputation for being safe, property crimes have crept up in recent years. Lastly, while Glendale's Americana at Brand and downtown districts attract shoppers and tourists, they've done little to offset a general feeling of stagnation. The post-COVID retail landscape hasn't bounced back fully, and some small businesses are closing due to rising rents and competition from e-commerce. For a city built on steady suburban appeal, Glendale is slowly losing its grip on what once made it special. Now let's talk about Santa Ana. Santa Ana, located in central Orange County, has a rich history and a deeply rooted Latino community. Its downtown area features beautiful Spanish-style architecture, museums, and a vibrant arts scene. But despite this cultural charm, Santa Ana is one of the California city's quietly bleeding residents. Its population has dropped from around 332,000 in 2020 to approximately 310,000 in 2025. One of the biggest drivers behind this exodus is gentrification. While redevelopment efforts have brought in new businesses and apartments, they've also displaced longtime residents. According to a UCLA study, Santa Ana ranks among the top 5 California cities most at risk of gentrification-driven displacement. Average home prices have surged past $700,000, a stark contrast to the average income level of many of its working-class residents. Renters make up over half of the population, and many are now paying more than 50% of their income on housing. In 2024, the city approved zoning changes that made it easier for developers to convert single-family homes into high-density housing. While intended to address the housing shortage, it instead led to rising rents and evictions in some neighborhoods. This, combined with stagnant wages and overcrowded housing, has pushed families to relocate to more affordable areas in the Inland Empire or even out of state. Another factor is education. Santa Ana Unified School District has faced criticism for low test scores and underfunded schools, which has prompted many families to seek better educational opportunities elsewhere. Public transit in Santa Ana also lags behind other cities, making it hard for residents without cars to get around efficiently. Crime, while not sky-high, has been enough of a concern to factor into some families' decision-making as well. Despite efforts to rebrand the city as a cultural and creative hub, these deeper economic and structural issues are proving hard to fix. Until wages catch up to the cost of living and housing becomes more accessible, Santa Ana may continue to see its population slowly decline. Inglewood is next. This South LA city has become synonymous with rapid transformation in recent years, thanks largely to billion-dollar developments like SoFi Stadium and the upcoming Intuit Dome. It's hosted Super Bowls, concerts, and soon NBA games, but the glossy headlines don't tell the whole story. While investors are pouring money into Inglewood, many residents are heading out. The population has declined from 115,000 in 2020 to about 110,000 in 2025. One of the biggest culprits? Gentrification. Inglewood has seen one of the sharpest rent increases in Southern California. Between 2020 and 2023, average rents surged over 40%, pricing out many long-term residents. In some areas near SoFi Stadium, rents have doubled in under 5 years. This has led to an uptick in evictions and housing insecurity, especially among Black and Latino communities who have called Inglewood home for generations. The city's infrastructure also hasn't kept up with its shiny new image. While the stadium and surrounding development zones gleam with promise, many residential streets remain in disrepair. Public schools are underfunded, and city services like sanitation and policing haven't improved in tandem with the rising cost of living. A 2023 survey revealed that over 60% of renters in Inglewood fear they'll be displaced within 5 years. There's also a sense of cultural displacement. Longtime residents feel they're being pushed out to make room for wealthier newcomers. Local businesses are closing, or being replaced by upscale shops and restaurants that don't reflect the community's history. Traffic congestion, particularly on game days and event weekends, has also made life more difficult for those who live nearby. Despite the boom in construction and media attention, Inglewood's transformation is a double-edged sword. While it's being sold as a city on the rise, the people who built its character are increasingly being left behind. Pasadena is famous for its historic architecture, the Rose Bowl, and the annual Tournament of Roses parade. It's home to Caltech, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and a vibrant arts scene centered around Colorado Boulevard. But behind the scenic beauty and cultural cachet, Pasadena is quietly shrinking. Its population has dropped from roughly 141,000 in 2020 to just under 136,000 in 2025. Housing affordability is a significant factor. The median home price in Pasadena is now well over $1 million, and even a modest apartment can run upwards of $2,500 per month. For middle-class families, young professionals, and retirees, the cost is simply too high, especially when other cities offer more space and better value. Pasadena's infrastructure is aging, and while the city has made efforts to modernize, the costs often fall on residents through taxes and rising utility bills. Traffic has become increasingly problematic, especially around the 210 and 134 freeways. Parking in downtown areas is difficult and expensive, pushing both residents and businesses to the outskirts or out of town entirely. The city has also faced criticism for its slow response to homelessness, which has become more visible in recent years. While nowhere near the scale of LA's crisis, encampments are becoming more common, particularly near parks and underpasses. This has raised safety concerns among residents and further strained public services. Education is a mixed bag. While Pasadena is home to excellent private institutions and Caltech, the public school system is inconsistent, leading many parents to relocate for better educational options. Combined with a relatively high cost of living and a sense that the city is becoming more exclusive than inclusive, it's easy to see why Pasadena is no longer the draw it once was for a broad swath of Californians. Next, let's visit Concord. Located in the East Bay region of Northern California, Concord was once a booming suburb of the greater San Francisco area. Known for its family-friendly neighborhoods, Mount Diablo views, and proximity to major cities, it was a prime location for commuters. But in 2025, Concord's population has shrunk to about 123,000, down from nearly 130,000 in 2020. Housing costs, while lower than in San Francisco or Oakland, are still unaffordable for many middle-class families. The median home price sits around $750,000, and rents have steadily increased to over $2,300 for a two-bedroom apartment. That's a tough ask for a city without the job density or cultural offerings of its neighbors. Additionally, Bay Area residents are increasingly leaving for out-of-state destinations where their money stretches further. Another major factor is transportation. While Concord has a BART station, service has been inconsistent, and the system itself has faced declining ridership, maintenance issues, and safety concerns. For many, the once convenient commute has become a hassle. The local economy has also faced challenges. Retail centers like Sun Valley Shopping Center have seen decreased foot traffic, and several big-box stores have closed. Job opportunities haven't kept pace with rising living costs. Crime rates have ticked up slightly since 2021, and homelessness has become more visible, particularly near downtown and public transit stations. All of this contributes to the feeling that Concord, once a promising suburban gem, is now stuck in limbo, with many residents choosing to move on. Now let's talk about Corona. Corona, located in Riverside County, has long been marketed as the gateway to the Inland Empire. With its Mediterranean climate and proximity to Orange County, it attracted a flood of residents during the early 2000s housing boom. But fast forward to 2025, and the population has dipped below 153,000, down from over 160,000 in 2020. One of the biggest issues here is commuter fatigue. While many move to Corona for more affordable housing, they've paid the price in long, grueling commutes. The 91 freeway is infamous for traffic jams, with average commute times often exceeding 90 minutes one way for those working in Orange or Los Angeles counties. That daily grind has pushed many to reconsider their choice and seek work and homes in areas where they can spend less time behind the wheel. Corona also experienced a housing bubble that's now causing some pain. Home values soared during the pandemic but have since stagnated or declined slightly, leaving some homeowners underwater. Renters haven't fared much better. The median rent for a two-bedroom apartment has reached $2,300, and utility costs are higher than the national average due to inland heat and energy inefficiency. There's also growing concern about air quality. Surrounded by freeways and logistics centers, Corona ranks poorly for pollution, with smog levels that can rival LA's worst days. Add in limited job diversity, the economy relies heavily on construction, warehousing, and retail, and younger residents are leaving in search of opportunity elsewhere. From a quality of life standpoint, Corona is at a crossroads. Unless it can solve its infrastructure and economic diversification problems, it's likely to continue shedding residents. Now to Stockton. Stockton is a city with a complicated history. Once a booming inland port and agricultural hub, it became infamous in 2012 when it filed for bankruptcy, the largest city in the U.S. to do so at the time. Though it has made strides since then, Stockton's population has been slipping, down to about 312,000 in 2025 from a peak of around 320,000 in 2020. The city faces challenges on multiple fronts. Crime continues to be a major issue. Stockton consistently ranks among the highest in the state for violent crime per capita. While there have been efforts to reform policing and community programs, many residents still feel unsafe, particularly in central neighborhoods. In fact, a 2023 crime report showed a 12% increase in robberies year over year. The housing situation is also fraught. Stockton became a go-to destination for Bay Area transplants during the pandemic, which sent home prices soaring. But as remote work cooled and interest rates rose, the market stalled. Many new homeowners are now looking to leave, while longtime residents feel squeezed by gentrification. Unemployment remains above the national average, and much of the local economy depends on low-wage sectors like agriculture, logistics, and retail. Public schools are underfunded, and graduation rates trail state averages. Despite a picturesque waterfront and cultural institutions like the Hagen Museum, the city's reputation and economic prospects continue to hold it back. Unless there are significant changes in infrastructure, safety, and job creation, Stockton may continue to see its population quietly decline. Next, let's take a look at Chula Vista. Located in San Diego County, Chula Vista has always been seen as a more affordable alternative to its coastal neighbors. Nestled between the San Diego Bay and the U.S.-Mexico border, it boasts scenic views and a diverse population. But in 2025, the city's population has dropped to about 268,000 from a peak of over 275,000 in 2020. Affordability is becoming a major concern. Though cheaper than San Diego proper, Chula Vista has seen a dramatic rise in housing costs. The median home price is now over $800,000, and rents have surged past $2,500 for a two-bedroom unit. Wages, however, haven't kept up. Many residents work in service, education, or cross-border logistics jobs, none of which offer the income needed to comfortably live in the area. Another issue is urban sprawl. Eastern Chula Vista has seen rapid development, but the infrastructure hasn't kept pace. Traffic congestion is worsening, and public transit options remain limited, especially for those commuting to San Diego. Schools are overcrowded, and while the Chula Vista Elementary School District is well regarded, the strain is beginning to show. There's also rising concern about environmental sustainability. Parts of the city have experienced water restrictions and increased fire risk due to dry conditions. Public services are stretched thin, and healthcare access remains uneven across neighborhoods. Despite its natural beauty and proximity to San Diego, Chula Vista is facing growing pains. If it can't rein in housing costs and improve infrastructure, more residents may be tempted to look elsewhere for a better balance of cost and quality of life. Oakland is next. Located just across the bay from San Francisco, Oakland has always played a vital role in California's cultural, and economic life. Known for its deep roots in activism, music, and sports, Oakland was once hailed as a vibrant alternative to San Francisco. In 2020, its population peaked around 433,000, but in 2025, that number has slipped to just over 412,000. That's a loss of more than 20,000 residents in 5 years. Several factors are behind the exodus. First, crime remains a major concern. In 2023, Oakland recorded its highest number of carjackings and burglaries in over a decade. A report by the Oakland Police Department showed a 14% increase in violent crime since 2020. These trends have shaken the confidence of longtime residents and potential newcomers alike. Second, affordability is still an issue. While Oakland was once seen as the cheaper alternative to San Francisco, rising rents and home prices have closed that gap. The median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is now over $2,800, and median home prices are above $900,000. Add in inconsistent city services, underfunded schools, and homelessness issues, and it becomes clear why families and young professionals are heading elsewhere. Downtown and uptown Oakland have seen some revitalization efforts, with new condos, restaurants, and art spaces, but that growth hasn't translated into long-term stability for the average resident. Many are feeling squeezed by gentrification, while others feel left behind entirely. Even the sports scene has taken a hit. The beloved Oakland A's are moving to Las Vegas, ending an era. All in all, Oakland is a city of potential, but in 2025, it's struggling to hold on to its people. If you want to see more empty cities, click on the screen right now to watch another video.